Three-Night Vow of Savitri, and, with the permission of the parents-in-law, her going to the forest along with her husband. Markandeya said, O Yudhishthir, with the rolling of several lunar days as the time was passing, the fated hour when Satyavan was to die was also approaching soon. Savitri was counting down the day with each lost day. What Narad had foretold about the impending doom, those words were ever fixed in her heart. The virtuous and noble lady, now much worried when she saw that only 4 days were left, undertook the three-night vow of standing night and day at one single place. The king, when he heard of this difficult vow, was very much distressed. He got up and spoke kind and conciliative words to Savitri. Dyumatsen said, O princess, what you have taken upon yourself is very hard and severe. To remain standing throughout like this is extremely difficult to accomplish. Savitri said, Be not disturbed about it, please. I shall be able to carry the vow without blame. Only a firm resolve makes it go through successfully, and I have initiated it with that resolve. Dyumatsen said, How can it be proper for me to tell you at all to break the vow? The best a person in my position can wish for you is that you be able to take it to the full end. Markandeya said, Saying so, the great-minded Dyumatsen retired, and Savitri, standing erect on a fixed spot, appeared to be as though she was a straight wooden post. O Yudhishthir, tomorrow the husband is to die. It was this thought, and filled with an intense grief, Savitri remained standing even as the last night of the vow was about to be over. Next day, knowing that it had arrived, well with the sunrise, she completed the morning rituals and lit a bright fire and made it to the sacrificial offerings. Then she gave her respects and obeisances to all the elders and to the sages and to the in-laws. Folding her hands reverentially, she stood in front of them. All those dwellers in the sacred forest, grown in austerity, blessed Savitri. The sages wish for her good auspicious things and a life without widowhood. Entering into the yoga of meditation and saying to herself, Be it just so, she, in her heart of hearts, repeated their words of benediction. Knowing that particular time and that moment as foretold by Narad to be arriving, the princess was filled with great grief in the thought. O Yudhishthir, finding thus the princess seated, lonely and quiet, the father-in-law and the mother-in-law spoke with loving tenderness to her. The father-in-law said, You have, following the strictest rules of observance, completed the vow. It is time now that you should take food, and then do what is befitting in the matter. Savitri said, It is only when the sun has departed and my desire is fulfilled that I shall eat. This is my heart's resolve, and at present I shall go by it. Markandeya said, While Savitri was conversing thus about food, Satyavan, taking his axe on his shoulder, was leaving for the forest. Savitri approached her husband, told him that he would not go alone and that she would accompany him. She would not leave him so unattended. Satyavan said, O sweet and beautiful, never have you been to the forest earlier, and the paths there are rough and wounding. Besides, when you have become so feeble with your vow and fast, how can you then walk? Savitri said, Neither languid nor exhausted do I feel due to this vow and then fasting. but full of eagerness because I am to accompany you. Refuse me not this request of mine. Satyavan said, if you are so desirous to come, I shall do what is pleasing to you, but that I be not blamed for this. Obtain permission from the venerables. Markandeya said, then Savitri, the observer of the difficult vow, went to her in-laws and, with due respect, requested them this way. Presently my husband is leaving for the great forest to gather fruits. A desire impels me to go also with him, if by the respectable mother and father-in-law I shall be permitted to do so. I cannot bear, even for a moment, separation from him any more. Your son is going to the forest to collect fruits and flowers and sacrificial wood for the sacred fire, as are needed by his revered teachers. So it behoves me not to stop him from this. Had it been for something else, I would not have allowed him to go to the forest. Besides, it is almost for a year that I did not step out of the ashram premises. But now a curiosity has arisen in me to see the forest, full of trees and flowers. Dyumatsen said, ever since Savitri's father left here as my daughter-in-law, never has she made any request to me for anything. I do not recollect her having done so any time. And therefore, let the young wife have what she is longing for. But, oh, my dear daughter, be not inadvertent while following the way with Satyavan. Markandeya said, obtaining thus the permission from both the in-laws, the triumphant lady went with her husband, but while she appeared to be smiling and happy in her bosom, she carried as ever a deep affliction. She saw large-eyed as she was, different parts of the forest varied in aspects, and beautiful everywhere, with flocks of joyous peacocks, showing the sacred streams carrying waters, and the tall mountains and trees laden with flowers. Satyavan would speak to Savitri in words that were honey-sweet. Yet, with a steadfast look, she kept a close vigil on all the movements of her husband, remembering well the words of the heavenly sage. She knew for certain the death of her husband with the arrival of time. She, walking with a soft and gentle gait, had her heart as if divided into two, one following her husband and the other in the await of the fatal moment.